Good afternoon, esteemed traders and investors. Today is Tuesday, December 9th. I present to your attention another market review for Forex. As always, I'm glad to be here with you today. So, news. Today is Tuesday and the interest rate for the Australian dollar has not changed. It's at 3.6%. In the evening, there are open positions in the US session, but the main event this week will be US inflation, the interest rate decision for the Canadian dollar, and also the US rate decision on Wednesday, along with the FOMC press conference and statements. So, tomorrow is the main news day. For those holding Swiss francs, there's also a rate decision on Thursday. Reminder, it's at 0, according to Buolin. That happens sometimes. Let's take a look at what we can trade on the charts. Let's go. So, let's begin by looking for potential setups in the market. Gold, which you can't see right now, but you're about to. There's a very interesting and noteworthy situation happening with gold at the moment. There's strong and persistent pressure on last week's lows. The instrument is currently dropping. Yesterday, there was some pretty strong and significant momentum on this instrument, including on the dollar, specifically strengthening the dollar. Now, the instrument is once again putting pressure on last week's lows on December 2nd. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. Here's this small inside bar formation. Those who trade inside bars know that the first target is always the base of the inside bar. So if you're shorting, the first target is here, and the second is the base of the initiative bar that contains it. Now, on the 15-minute chart, the instrument dropped during the Asian session, and we saw several short breakdowns here. So, there's a base left below, and above we have a short breakdown. That's what the Asians tested. Now, it's possible that the Europeans will test the Asian breakdown, and from there you could try to sell into this zone. Overall, this setup is quite interesting for traders who are looking for opportunities in the current market environment, especially considering the recent price action and the interplay between gold and the dollar. As always, it's important to monitor these levels closely and watch for confirmation before entering any trades, as market conditions can change rapidly. Of course, they might drag this out. If it doesn't move here, then it's better to look for shorts after a breakout to the upside because the base isn't going anywhere. Here, they might also take out the liquidity above. The Euro-US dollar pair also saw a strong short initiative yesterday. Right now, we're standing right in the short breakdown zone. If you believe in short positions on this instrument, there's a reason for that, because we also have a base below, between the 1st and 2nd of December. So from the current levels, you could try short positions to the downside. Stop here, you can either short it for the American session or put it behind yesterday's high. This kind of movement can be pulled out with a potential of about 600 points if you believe in buying, and this, unfortunately, can sometimes happen because just yesterday, the instrument on H4 actually rebounded from one of the significant long break zones. On the 15-minute chart, this test also happened through a break of the 15-minute time frame. Asian traders did not test the American break, and it may be tested, possibly even today, with approximately this kind of potential. That is, if you go long, then from lower levels. If you go short, you can do it from the current levels, and according to this scenario, the British pound-US dollar pair is also pressing up, maybe for a 4 out of 5. Perhaps this will be a continuation of the growth. Overall, the trend looks bullish. Here, in terms of breaks on the M15 timeframe, we have a break, and the instrument is also above yesterday's long break. The instrument feels quite confident, but there is no particularly active volatility. You can see that the instrument is consolidating ahead of tomorrow's news. The Australian dollar, today the rate decision came out for it, and it went up. It went up by as much as 4 points. Yesterday, there was a powerful and significant bullish engulfing pattern, which was essentially a three-wave structure that ended with the release of the news. So the third wave dropped down, and then it clearly reversed direction from a small long break and shot upwards with strong momentum. At this point, I would consider only taking long positions from the long break that happened last night, especially if they don't rewrite the high, leave it as it is, and then pull back to the long break. Then it's definitely a continuation of the move with a stop placed behind the news event.
Looking for real trading advantages? Forex offers the lowest spreads and commissions. On major currency pairs, our conditions are better. Lower spreads and only $5 commission instead of $7. That's real savings for every trader. And now, let's get back to the market review.
As for the US dollar Canadian dollar currency pair, it's currently sitting at the bottom, really sliding down, fell hard, and there are plenty of targets below that level. If you're betting on dollar weakness, you should wait for a deep pullback with the aim of further decline. The dollar is also, interestingly, rising from the ashes, showing some resilience. The instrument has gradually recovered. On the 4-hour time frame, there was a break. The long structure has already broken down on the 4-hour chart. The long zone is here, so if you're a buyer, you're waiting for a pullback to this long zone, and you can count on the continuation of the move. Oil continues to decline, but for now, I don't see any interesting setups to enter. The engulfing was very strong. Within one day, the bears practically engulfed 3 days of long positions. I don't see any particular bias toward longs here, but on the weekly time frame, overall, this three-wave structure is still holding. But keep in mind, the instrument expires in the 20s of each month. If you enter now, you'll only be able to hold the position for about 10 days, and then you'll have to close or roll over the trade, so there's not much room. It's better to wait until after expiration. Bitcoin continues to pay off for now, but remember, if you believe in the long impulses currently happening with this instrument, let's mark them on the 4-hour chart. Here's long impulse number 1, and here's long impulse number 2. Right now, the instrument is in the long breakdown zone from this impulse, although it has already tested it once, twice, and 3 times. Overall, if you're ready to set stop losses for this week, you can count on this kind of 3-wave structure continuing upward. So, with a stop from the current levels, a stop below 87,000, targets at 92,000 and 94,000, and ideally aiming for 100,000. Basically, it's not a bad idea. You can try it here. Give it a try. The stop is clear, and so are the targets.
I also want to remind you that every InstaForex client automatically receives loss insurance. For every $1 of compensation, only $4 of your friend's investments are required. Just submit a request, and your losses will be recovered. Let's continue with the review.
The US stock market, S&P 500 and Nasdaq are at historical highs, and there are no pullback setups for now, so we'll skip them. Dollar franc continues to rise. Tomorrow is the interest rate decision for the franc, and honestly, anything could happen. But I don't think they'll go into negative territory. The rate is at 0. After the rate decision, there will be a statement, and so on. For now, the structure looks very good. An engulfing pattern on the weekly time frame, a pullback, an inside bar, and we can expect a weekly move, maybe even 2, 3, 4, or 5 weeks upward. I remind you that the main target could be the 0.92376 level. For now, the structure is pointing exactly to this scenario. As for our cross pairs within the grid trading method, Canadian dollar Swiss franc interests us below the lows of the year with a step of 500. Australian dollar Canadian dollar. Those who made a profit, well done. Let me remind you, the move was 1,000 points. If you sold from the top, your take profit should have been triggered. If the instrument updates the yearly high again, we set up a new grid of limit sell orders with a step of 500.
With InstaForex, you can triple your profit. For every $4 of your friend's investments, you automatically get an extra $1 added to your profit, with no extra conditions.
New Zealand dollar Swiss franc continues to rise, and the targets here are significant. Within the grid, we will only accumulate below. For now, the targets are not encouraging. Australian dollar New Zealand dollar is correcting a bit after the rate decision. If it updates the high, set up a short grid with a step of 500. If you are holding, the main target is the 1.1683 level. Euro-Swiss franc continues to rise. The franc is weakening, and something should happen at the rate decision that will weaken the franc even more. Euro-Australian dollar does not interest us here for now. We are waiting for more attractive prices to start building grids within the grid trading method. Euro-Canadian dollar, if it updates the yearly high, set up a grid of limit sell orders with a step of 500.
We also have a great offer. Fund your account and get a 30% tradable bonus. Trade with additional capital and expand your opportunities with InstaForex.
US dollar Russian ruble has definitely settled below 80. 76 is holding like a club, and this, my friends, is a trend. If you participated in the shorts, be sure to let me know. Silver is stalling for us. For now, it's moving sideways, not signaling either long or short. There aren't really any support levels below. Perhaps these are already climax candles on the way to a short correction. There are no signals yet, but news is coming up. And they, my friends, could make a difference. Let's take a look at the pound yen. Please take a look at it. Let's have a look. Pound yen. You really like all sorts of scary instruments with wild volatility. And on top of that, with the yen, everywhere the yen is involved right now, there are long trends because the yen is depreciating against all instruments, against all of them. That's all. Trade with Forex, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for new reviews.